Are you eating enough, sleeping well, exercising smart, and yet your period still hasn't returned? You're definitely not alone. Many women come to me after months, sometimes years, of doing all the right things and still feeling frustrated. The truth, there is one thing most women overlook, and it's often the number one reason your hormones stay stuck, even when your diet and training are perfect. So if this is you, stick around because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what's happening, why it's keeping your hormones suppressed, and what to do about it. But if you haven't met me before, hello, my name is Claudia. I help women restore their periods, balance their hormones, and feel confident in their bodies without fear, obsession, or unnecessary restrictions. At this point, I've worked with hundreds of women who are frustrated because they think calories or weight are the problem. But what I see over and over again is that the body has a bigger picture in mind, one that goes far beyond food and exercise. So, what is this number one thing that is holding back your recovery journey? Let me explain it to you. Even if you have gained weight, even if your BMI is restored, if you do believe in BMI, obviously, even if your diet is on point and your workouts are sensible, your body can still perceive stress at a neurological and hormonal level. When your stress hormones, like cortisol, the one that everyone knows about, are elevated, your brain essentially is saying, this isn't a safe time to reproduce. And the hypothalamus, which is the beautiful part of your brain that controls reproductive hormones such as FSH and LH, reduces signals to your ovaries, which suppresses estrogen and progesterone. This is why periods can stay absent for years and years and years. Stress isn't just emotional or psychological, it can come from a variety of things. For example, sleep disruptions, traveling too much, spending too much time on a plane sometimes really affect the hormones, family responsibilities, overdoing even healthy workouts. So, for example, doing a Pilates class every single day of the week, even for only 20 minutes without a proper break. Subtle energy deficits that your body notice, even if your BMI is okay, is also something else that I've seen more often than not. And gut disruptions that really impact the absorptions of nutrients is another things that we need to take into consideration. So as you can see, stress is not just that emotional stress of I have moved from one country to another, which is definitely a big stress, or I've just broken up a very important relationship, but it can be very subtle and yet it can be omnipresent, which means that it's present in your daily routine daily. So high cortisol influence the HPA axis, which is the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, which then impacts the HPO axis, hypothalamus pituitary ovary axis. Basically, the hormonal chain that controls ovulation. When this chain is disrupted, your body won't release eggs, which means no period. Even small spikes in cortisol over time can be enough to keep your hormones completely suppressed. What's tricky is that many women do everything right but still get stuck. And here are some hidden contributors. One is overthinking food and exercise. So that constantly add to the mental load, to the mental stress, which then later on increase cortisol and more than anything reduce the feeling of safety in your own body, and also it impacts your trust in listening to your body and making your own decision. Another big one is irregular sleep. Even a few late nights in a row can really affect your hormonal rhythm. So, for example, if you're suffering from insomnia, if you're struggling going to sleep, if you wake up every single night at 1 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning and can't go back to sleep, your circadian rhythm is clearly out of whack, and that's something that really needs to be solved if you want to get regular periods and not disruptive periods in your lifetime. Another thing that I see very often are life transitions or family stress because your nervous system interpret them as threats. When we talk about like transition, think about changing school, finishing school, starting a new job, being in a very stressful situation at your own job, or even family stress, not getting along with someone that is in your household or having someone that is sick that you need to take care of. So all of this is perceived by proper stress by our brain and by our body. And as I mentioned before, also micronutrient gaps are very important and needs to be considered. And that's something that I always do with all the clients that I work with. Sometimes low iron can really impact your period from returning. Vitamin D can impact your fertility. Iodine as well can impact your egg quality, and other key nutrients quietly signal stress to the body. So as we know, stress affects the hypothalamus, which then lead to hormonal suppression. So I'm gonna give an example and I'm gonna anonymize it for privacy. One client came to me very frustrated because she had gained weight, she was eating enough, and she was training very sensibly, but she still hadn't had a period back, and we had been working together for 8 months. So together we focused on reducing mental pressure around food, improving sleep, improving her routine in general, and incorporating gentle nervous system support. In her situation, was mainly breathing exercises and mindful walks, but obviously those supportive strategies can vary between one person and another. After we did that, within a few weeks, subtle signs of ovulation came back into the picture, and the period followed soon after. And not because she ate more, not because she trained differently, not because she gained even more weight, but because her body finally felt safe enough to resume normal hormonal function. And I do apologize if I'm stumbling on my words today. I don't know. I think that my brain desperately is in desperate need of a proper coffee this morning. So this is why stress management isn't optional in the period recovery journey, and it's part of the hormone recovery process. So let me give you some practical steps that you can take. A stress management could look like a bubble bath, and yet very often is not that. So first of all, just make sure that you prioritize energy consistently. So keep meals and snacks consistent, even on busy or travel days, for example. Your body cares about overall patterns, not perfection. So, for example, if you're feeling very stressed out because you went for a hike and you missed a snack, don't worry about it. Our body is very resilient. Just make sure that you catch up on the following meal, and just make sure that the next day you have a leisurely day where you just rest and you go for a gentle walk and no more hikes. The second thing that I really recommend you to do, just for overall well being, not only for period recovery, is to support your sleep. So aim for regular sleep, even if shifted slightly. Naps and quiet moments help reset cortisol and definitely do count. But there is nothing better than a beautiful night of sleep, especially when it comes to falling asleep before 10 p.m. at night and 2 a.m. In the morning, because that's the time where our body really recharges and our liver and all our hormones do all the right things. We notice that cortisol starts to spike at around 3 o'clock in the morning, and it peaks at around 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. So just making sure that you get that proper night sleep between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is absolutely fundamental. And you do you. Maybe you're the kind of person that loves to sleep with the windows open and is not affected by noise. But if you struggle to fall asleep, make sure that your environment is absolutely clean, that you have curtains that make your room pitch black. Otherwise, you can put an eye mask on, as I have to do every single night, just to make sure that I don't wake up multiple times. You can go to sleep by listening to some yoga nidra. Make sure that you have a protein-rich meal a couple of hours before going to sleep, and don't drink too much before you hit the sack, because otherwise you're gonna wake up multiple times during the night to go for a wee. Step number three is to definitely manage subtle stressors. So you can really look at things that can be helpful for you as a person, like such as gentle breathing, mindfulness, sometimes jumping, shaking is very welcome, grounding exercises. They all can help your nervous system signal that it's safe to restore hormones and it's safe for your period to come back. It's not that you have to spend the whole day breathing and being mindful and making sure that you're shaking as soon as you feel a little bit tense, but just make sure that you practice those little things at least 3 times a day, possibly when you wake up in the morning, just before having dinner at night, and at some point during the day. So they become part of your routine, they become part of what you do every single day. And in that way, you're going to get really consistent and you're gonna counteract that cortisol picture and the excessive cortisol productions, because as we know, if cortisol is high, pregnenolone is gonna basically focus on producing more cortisol instead of producing enough progesterone. So that's definitely something that you don't want. And same thing goes for overtraining or exercising every single day. That's a massive stressor for your body too. And if your brain sees you running, for example, a couple of times a day, or going to 2 different classes a couple of times a day, or not having a break from exercise, whatever type of exercise it is, it can perceive it as a threat. It can perceive it as this person is always being chased by something that she's scared of, so it's not the right time for her to have a period, otherwise she could get pregnant and she could get in real danger. Always remember that hypothalamic amenorrhea is your body's way of protecting you. So be very self-compassionate when it comes to your body and what you're experiencing right now. So definitely move your body wisely, avoid overtraining, choose gentle, enjoyable activity, walks like light resistance if that's something that you can do at this point, yoga, all things that feels really good, not punitive. Go for a walk because you want to get some sunshine, because you're looking forward to walk to the next coffee shop and to grab yourself a nice decaf latte, and then come back while listening to the birds and just staring at the sun when it's safe to do so, or just looking at flowers, instead of waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym and push weights for like an hour to then come back and rush through the rest of your day. So feeling stuck doesn't mean that your body is broken. It means that your body is incredibly smart. It's protecting you until it feels safe enough to turn your hormones back on. Your progress as well isn't linear, and that is normal. So each small consistent step in nourishing your body, in nourishing your brain, in nourishing your soul, every consistent step when it comes also to resting and reducing stress, all of that contributes to recovery. So we are here looking for progress, never for perfection. And if you're ready for weekly guidance, for professional support and tips to help your hormones recover without obsession or fear, just feel free to join my Restore the Hormones community. The link is in the descriptions below. Remember that your body, once again, is not broken, it's just responding to its environment. So give it what it truly needs, nourishment, rest, and safety, and it will respond to that. And now I would encourage you to keep watching my next video, the 7 things to stop doing if you want to get the period back. You're going to find the link here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.